I was working as a level 1 tech support for a real estate development company, and I was kind of miserable. And so I started just selling through my own website, superstarseo.com, and just using that. And I had met some of the other freelancers like you and some other others, and some of them asked me, could they sell through my site? And that's kind of, along with some consultation with some other folks, that's kind of when the light bulb went off that I should just create a marketplace of my own.
I think I've learned a lot about like being on Legit as a freelancer and seeing how you do things.
I find on-page super boring. I think it's something to just make white hat people feel better about themselves. You'll find out they have no links or very few links or shitty links.
Chris M. Walker, welcome to the SEO Wisdom Podcast. How are you doing, brother?
Doing well. How are you?
Yeah, doing great. It was a long like quest of getting you, because of our different time zones, and I'm really glad we finally made it happen. I'm really excited.
Yeah, me too. This is the second late night one I've done this in the last 2 days, because on Friday night, I did one with Roheen, Roheen, and had to do that one at like 11 o'clock at night because his time zone is even further away than yours.
I mean, like, you've got like jiu-jitsu. I heard you're doing some jiu-jitsu in the mornings and stuff.
Muay Thai. I do Muay Thai and boxing. I don't do jiu-jitsu.
Oh, okay, sweet. I mean, some martial arts with some SEO is just like perfect, I think. It's just like the nice recipe to a fulfilled lifestyle.
Yeah, actually, in 2 weeks, I have my first competitive match, whatever you want to call it.
No way. How can we live stream it? Are you going to live stream it or something?
No, I don't know. It's not like a big deal. But it's just, it's kind of like, it's called medium competition points kickboxing, but I don't know. It's just something I wanted to do. I've trained for probably 10 years total, and I've never done it. I didn't want to. I'm getting to the age where I won't be able to do it much longer, and I didn't want it to be something that I'd never done.
That's good. How long you've been doing it?
Well, where I am now, I've only started last October, so almost a year. But then previously, 10 years before that, I trained in Kung Fu for 5 years. So I guess about 6 years total.
Wow. Anyways, we're talking too much about martial arts. I don't want to confuse the audience and start going into the movements. Chris, can you tell people about your background and how you started Legit selling SEO services? Because I know everybody will be watching this podcast is aware who Chris Walker is, but for the people, just a little background story.
Sure. So I'll just start at the beginning. In I guess it was about 2013 or so. I was working as a level 1 tech support for a real estate development company, and I was kind of miserable. Not because of them. I always feel like I bury them in this when I tell this story, and it wasn't because of them. I was the problem, and not them.
I love that.
So because I'm still friends with a lot of them, and I always feel bad after I said that. But anyway, I wasn't making the kind of money I needed to make, and I wasn't doing the kind of I was just unhappy, and I had a lot of credit card debt too. So I was never going to be able to get out of it at the pay rate I was at then. And one day when I was not doing my job and instead reading the internet, I came across a blog post that used to be a professional wrestling blog that I used to read that had gone away, and it was just a one-page site there that the owner had put there talking about what he was doing with his life now that the blog was gone. And he said he was making his living doing something called affiliate marketing, which I'd never heard of before at the time, but it sounded really cool that you could put these little links on a website and get paid for it. Obviously it's more complicated than that, but that's how he sold it. And I was like, okay, cool. So I started researching that, and I found the Warrior Forum and Black Hat World. I'm sure you're familiar with those. And I bought a couple of courses off of there. And I bought one that was called Bring the Fresh, which was by a guy named Kelly Felix. And that was what got me my first site going, my first affiliate marketing site. I didn't even know what I was doing was called SEO at the time. I know I was making stuff rank higher in Google, but I thought I was just doing affiliate marketing, and that was how you got the traffic. But yeah, I was doing well. I had a site called Get Rid of Cable, which still exists, even though it's kind of abandoned. And I was using a tool called Magic Submitter to build links to it that got it to rank number 1 for all kinds of stuff. And I started making some money. I was like, this is pretty awesome. And then in October of 2013 is the Penguin 2.0 update, and that wiped all that out in a single day. and that never came back. So from there, I bounced around and I did a few other little things here and there. And then I bought another course called Source Phoenix, which was from Alex Becker, which, you're familiar with it again. And that was an expensive course for me at the time. That was $1,000. And so I had to so once I got that being expensive, put the pressure on me to make it worth the investment. So that's when I started doing a little bit of client SEO and some more affiliate marketing and things like that. And that did okay for me. I picked up a few clients. I would go literally take phone calls in the bathroom because I still had my day job and I didn't want to get in trouble, but I still had to take their phone calls. So I would go into the bathroom to take the call in there and stuff like that. And that did okay, but I still didn't have enough to go do that instead of have my job. And then randomly, Alex Becker started a marketplace around 2015. And on a whim, I just listed a service that I thought of and found and resold something I had found on Fiverr at the time. And I remember I was at the gym one day on the elliptical and I got a PayPal alert on my phone and it was a $10 sale. I was like, what the fuck is this? Is it all right if I swear?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. What the fuck is this? I was like, and then I realized it was, from a sale from that site. I was like, huh. So, and then I got another one and another one and another one. And then I listed another service and when Alex's partner, Gregory Ortiz, promoted that service. And then I got a ton of sales from that and it built and built and built from there. And I started doing really, really well and was able to quit my job in August of 2016 and go do that plus my clients plus affiliate full time. But then that site started. And another side note to that is that's when I started building I hate this expression, but building a following and a brand for myself by driving those customers over into the Superstar SEO Facebook group and things like that. And then from there, that was going well for a while, but then that site, which is no longer in business, but that site started having a lot of problems. It started, you remember this, it started getting hacked and crashing and just going to pieces. And so I started just selling through my own website, superstarseo.com, and just using that. And I had met some of the other freelancers like you and some of the others, and some of them asked me, could they sell through my site? And that's kind of, along with some consultation with some other folks, that's kind of when the light bulb went off that I should just create a marketplace of my own. And I was fortunate enough to have met a customer through that other site that was a developer, and I partnered with him. And that was when we decided to launch Legiit in 2018. And then Legiit was supposed to just be another product for Superstar SEO. It wasn't going to be a core business or anything. It was just going to be along with the training and the services and the software, another thing that I offered. But almost instantly it became the number one earner and then has grown into this whole global community and brand and stuff. And then, it's gone through a lot of changes over the years and gotten a lot better and reaches a lot more people. But that brings us to now, I guess.
Yeah. Beautiful story. I think till today, comparing the other marketplaces to Legiit, I don't think there's much competition in the SEO space per se. And I'd still go to Legiit to buy services and recommend people. The quality of the product that you get on Legiit and the sellers is just mind-blowing, and how you've grown in such a short period of time. But my question comes here, so you're already selling a few services, you had clients on Superstar SEO, and you could be doing that and you could be expanding that side of the business. What was the psychological force towards okay, I'm going to launch my own marketplace and create a better user experience for what I've experienced? I mean, why take such a headache in the first place?
Well, for one, I didn't realize how much of a headache it would be. Not that I regret it, but I'm just saying. But like I said, I never expected it to be a big thing. I expected it to just be I didn't even expect it to be its own legal entity. I thought it would just be another product that Superstar SEO had because there was a need. I was selling stuff through my site and people were asking me if they could sell through my site. I was like, well, first of all, it doesn't work that well, but I was like, this is an opportunity to make something here. And a couple of people kind of talked me into it. And eventually it just came to that. So if you make it sound like I had, the way you asked the question makes it seem like I had some epiphany or some grand vision. I didn't. It was just an opportunity that came up because that other site went to crap, and that, and then some of the things I wanted to do in the beginning, I focused heavily on the freelancers in the beginning because that was kind of my background. I wanted to give them the same opportunity that I had in building a brand and promoting themselves and treating them equally with the customers. On a lot of marketplaces, they always heavily take the side of the customer. I try to take the side of who's right. Like, whether sometimes that is going to be the customer, sometimes that's going to be the freelancer. But when things come up, I want everyone to have a fair shake because I look at everybody as our customers. And that was one thing that I wanted to do different. And I'm not sure if that's what you asked, but that's kind of what led me to do it. Was there was an opportunity, and I knew that there were some things I could do better, especially the customer support. Because if you remember, that other site had no customer support.
Yeah, that was a nightmare. I remember like my orders getting refunded and canceled and site going down, and you would send an email and you get no replies. And 2 days later, the site is live again. And I'm like, okay, I'm just talking to a zombie or something.
Yeah, their support was a Facebook group and one dude.
Yeah. How many people do we have on Legit support?
I can tell you, actually.
They're pretty fast. Like, every time I have a query, like, they respond in like less than 5 minutes or something.
Looks like about 7 or 8, depending on how you look at it.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, we're very proud of how prompt our support is and things like that. I came, like I said in the beginning, I came from technical support myself, and I think I didn't realize it at the time, but I think that really played. I think that's why we've done as well as we could, and because we have great people too.
So you think your background in technical support really made a better user experience for all the people in Legit and made people trust Legit more than other marketplaces?
I think it helped me develop really good customers service and support, like you said, that they're always really fast and helpful and stuff. And I'd say that's the thing we probably have gotten the most compliments on over the years, is how good our support is. And I do think that my experience in doing support myself influenced that.
Awesome. So how much Legit evolved based on the customer feedback versus, okay, how I want things to be? Like, I see you do a lot of customer feedback on the Facebook groups, and you ask a lot of questions, and you're always open to new ideas. And even the new purple team maybe kind of came out of what people were, suggesting and stuff. So how do you like transition, like, okay, this is how we're going to propel the next plan of action, and what kind of ratio is that customer feedback and what is like, okay, this is how I want things to be?
Okay. First of all, little anecdote. The purple is, I actually chose those colors based on a candy. You familiar with Nerds?
Maybe.
It's a type of candy that it comes in a box with like 2 slots and like 2 flavors. And there's a purple and strawberry flavor that's really popular. And that's where we got the color theme for the new version of Legit, was from a candy box. So you asked where that came from.
Candies in Star Wars.
That was the inspiration of the color. But anyway, to answer your question, that's hard because like customer feedback, it's important to listen to people, but it's not always wise to do what they want. And we made that mistake a couple of times. So first of all, like freelancers were screaming for years that they needed an app. And like we didn't see the need for it, and we still don't, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
But we spent, months and months and months and thousands of dollars building an app that's just for communication for now. And I just feel like that was a complete waste because like people use it, I'm sure. I don't know if you do, but I don't that much. Sometimes I do, but
I just have it installed on my iPhone just as, I have a Legit app, but every time I launch and send a message, it just crashes. And I'm like, I'll just keep it on my phone. Yeah. I think it's iPhone 14. I have the newest version. It was crashing.
Okay. Message support, they should be able to help you fix that.
Okay, sure.
But I don't use it because I don't know. I don't think that I want to work with businesses, and I just don't think you can do proper business through an iPhone. Maybe that's just me being a boomer or something. But anyway, but my point is we listened too much to that and didn't focus on things that we actually needed. It's like that Henry Ford quote where he says that if he'd have listened to customers, he would have built a faster horse instead of building the first car.
Right.
So So that said, you still need to listen to people, but you need to have a vision for what you want and make decisions based on that.
Right.
So like it's common advice that you hear people give to tech startups, not that we're a startup anymore, but you hear people give to tech startups is to listen to your customer feedback and implement that into your product. It's like, sometimes customers don't know what's right. They don't have access to the information, and like just tonight I did a live stream myself, and there was a guy on there who was saying that what you should do is give all the freelancers an opportunity and give the new people a chance to get as many orders as they can too, instead of focusing on the ones that have already established themselves. I'm like, no, that's not my goal. My goal isn't to help as many freelancers as possible make a few sales. It's to empower the ones that are going to do a good job for our customers. So if I listened to all customer feedback and did what this guy wanted, it wouldn't work and it wouldn't fit in our vision. So it's important to listen to people because you want them to be happy and that they can have some good ideas, but you have to pick and choose the ones that fit for where you want your business to go.
Awesome. That's the most beautiful answer about the customer. I think I've learned a lot about like being on Legit as a freelancer and seeing how you do things. I've learned a lot about how I should communicate with my customers, how I should be like setting up real expectations.
The expectation thing is really important though, especially with something as abstract as SEO.
Yeah. Coming to the SEO part, would you say like you are a better on-page SEO expert or a better off-page SEO expert?
Well, first of all, I want to be clear that I'm a above average SEO. I'm not like a legend or anything like that. You know what I mean? I can get results, but I still go to other people for advice at times too. So I just, want to be as transparent as possible. But I don't know. If I had to say what I'm better at, I would probably say off page because I find on page super boring.
Off page super boring.
On page,
yeah, boring. It's so boring. I just find like, every time I have to do on page and change the titles and metas and H tags, like, I'll just rather outsource it and just focus on the backlinks side of things because I don't know, there's something about the backlinks, the DI, the link juice, the playing the field with how many links you need and how it's going to affect the campaign and that. And I think in this current SEO community like space just now at this time period, there's a lot of new on-page factors that are coming up like EEAT. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Bullshit. I think relevance in general is bullshit. If you look at search right now, it's dominated by Outlook India and like Dallas News and LA Weekly and like all these parasite sites. And like even I was looking for some new boxing gloves recently, bringing it back to the martial arts thing. And I Googled best boxing gloves and it was sites like Rolling Stone was #1, I think. And like, I think relevance is complete nonsense. I think authority trumps it every time. So that's another reason I don't like on page is because it doesn't matter when like you can do a perfect on page site with all these posts and interlink it. And then somebody can go spend $300 for a post on Outlook India and rank #1.
Yeah. But was relevance ever a thing? Like since we've been doing SEO, like I think we started at the same time. I've never seen like topical EAT sites ever dominating for longer times.
Me neither. I think it's something to just make white hat people feel better about themselves or something because like there's like 10 sites that rank for every term at this point, and none of them are like blogs with topical EEAT relevance or any of that shit. I mean, I'm exaggerating to an extent, but
sure.
Like, overall, no, I don't. Especially even since like the last like 3 or 4 years, like you never see niche sites doing well when you search for things.
Yeah, I think
I shouldn't say never, but rarely.
But do you think with the coming updates, Google updates and stuff, the EEAT will take over SEO, or just going to be the same sites ranking irrelevant and stuff?
I think it'll still be the same sites ranking. I really don't think they know how to get around it at this point.
And also the algorithm is just like too focused on how the backlinks create the authority. And it's always been, the backlinks has been a major factor. So EEAT can do a little, to an extent. And that's not what most people understand. And then they focus on EAT, and then they're like, Chris or Saket, hey, my sites are not ranking. Why?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's because you'll find out they have no links or very few links or shitty links.
Yeah. And what would you say, like, the best backlink strategy you'd advise to a client? Like, if there's someone who wants to rank, let's say, best boxing gloves, and they want to rank in 6 months, what would you advise them?
For something like that, I would just do as many guest posts, niche edits, and PBNs as they could afford.
Same. Yeah. Same.
Now, for local businesses, I do it a little bit differently. I try to build relevance through links. And what I mean by that is like social profiles and web 2.0s and citations and stuff like that to kind of create like a branded entity type of thing. So I do that at like the local client level, but for affiliate, that shit doesn't matter. You know, you use Best Boxing Gloves as an example. That would be an affiliate site most likely. And there you would just want to fire away.
Yeah. Yeah, I do something similar as well. When a client comes, I'm like, just do as many as you can, because the authority is just going to build up over time, and the more juice you're going to get. It's never like less links. In my personal experience, when a site comes, like, you can always do so much more, and it depends.
Yeah. The only way you can do too many is you do more than you needed to.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just end up like in sports when you're winning 10-0, it's a different, you end up winning 50-0.
Yeah.
Not a perfect analogy because I don't understand sports, but I think you get my point.
And, you know, like, we've actually have our personal brands, and a lot of people kind of listen to us and stuff. And there's a lot of SEO myths that you have debunked, and I've seen it. Like, what would you say, like, are the funniest SEO myths that you've seen? And like PageRank or spam score people, you know, and they're like, Chris, this is very important. And you're like, no, this is not important at all.
Definitely the third-party metrics are the ones that people focus on. I literally got SEMrush on Twitter to admit that their toxicity score has no impact on Google ranking. On the same day that somebody was whining about I bought a bunch of links on your platform and it crashed my site because they all had a high toxicity score in SEMrush. I was like, that doesn't matter. And like I made a tweet. I was like, one of the dumbest things in SEO, I forget exactly how I put it, but I was like, one of the dumbest things in SEO is people focusing on metrics like SEMrush's toxic link. And to their credit, they replied and explained that, well, it does give like some guidance. It's not a factor. So, but people take that stuff as gospel. Moz spam score too. You probably get that with your links because PBN links tend to have a higher spam score, but it's a completely made up bullshit metric that means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And that's probably the one that I think software companies fool people with the most.
So here are people watching and they're like, Chris Walker's saying, don't listen to the third party metrics. So they are asking you a question like, what makes a good SEO, according to you, Chris?
Well, just let me clarify one thing. I'm not saying don't listen to them, but use your brain too.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
Don't just look at the score and go, this is bad because it has a spam score. Look at what led them to give it that bad spam score, and then you make that decision. So I'm sorry, what was the other question?
What makes like a good, decent SEO that you can rely on? Like all the SEOs you might have seen on your marketplace and yourself and people you work with, like what makes a decent SEO according to your personal experience and journey?
Not being tied to anything but getting results. A lot of people would rather not get results and stick to whatever hat they've decided that they wear and be proud of that, even though they didn't get results. The only things that are on it, you shouldn't do anything illegal. Like you shouldn't hack sites to get links or anything like that. But beyond that, there's nothing unethical in marketing or SEO. So except for not getting a result. So the ones that are willing to do what it takes to get results rather than worry about what group of SEOs that they fall into. The just right content people are the worst about that. But there are black hats that are bad about it too. Like they wouldn't optimize an H1 tag to save their life.
Yeah.
You know, but for me, I want to do what works.
I mean, when I go on Twitter, I still see those posts and they're like, I ranked my site without any links and you can follow the plan. Just DM me yes, and I'll send you the link and stuff. What are your thoughts on those people?
I'm sorry, run that by me again.
So, you know, when you go on Twitter and you see like a thread and they're like, I ranked this site without any links. I can send you the same strategy.
If they had, I'm not saying that everyone that says that is wrong, because they might really have gotten that result, but just because something worked for you doesn't mean that's how it worked, or just because it worked in that one case doesn't mean that's how it works. If you want to get results like that and you get results, more power to you. But if you don't, if you get one where you can't get results, then you need to do what you can to get the results. Ultimately, that's what matters, is the score at the end of the game, for another sports analogy.
I can see like your sports mindset.
I don't like sports at all, actually, but for whatever reason.
Yeah. A bit of jiu-jitsu, a bit of sports, a bit of SEO. Life's beautiful. Yeah, coming to the next topic I want to talk to you about. How do people face uncertainty in the SEO space? Like, there's a lot of changes that are coming up with this AI, ChatGPT evolution and stuff. And people get scared, like, SEO is going to die and I'm going to be jobless and this and that. What would you suggest those people to have like a positive outlook on the uncertainty in the next few months in that? Well,
for the SEO is dead people, I've been doing this for 10 years and it's been dying. It's dead the whole time. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that. So stop worrying and just, I don't know. First of all, I think it's a myth that SEO changes as much as people think it does. Like, yes, things have changed, but they don't change as much as people selling you tools and courses and stuff would lead you to believe that they do. And I think you should just focus on doing good fundamentals, doing what's working right now, and then making sure that it still works. And if it doesn't, then adapt. Like, don't worry about things you can't control. Just do your best to do what you can do to get results and build good relationships with people, and you won't lose your job, as you put it. So,
yeah. And I saw your post the other day about you trying to diversify your personal branding with Superstar SEO Legit. And do you want to give our audience, like, what's your plans? Like, how you want to do the personal branding with Chris Walker and Superstar SEO and all the brands that you own now and the products and services?
Yeah. So the part of it is just because it's just a mess. Like, if you Google me, it's just kind of like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And I just want that to look good and be good. But, you know, I do individual consulting and stuff like that, and not just for SEO, but like I want to focus on that a little bit more and grow like maybe like a mastermind or something. But when I try to like recruit for that, as people are wanting to know about how to rank their fucking local business site or something. And I think it's because I haven't distinguished who I am away from Legit, and more so from Superstar SEO. And like, if people don't differentiate that enough, and I want to, like, I have, you know, not to like pat myself on the back, but Legit is a 8-figure business that sells no products, that I took with no funding and no know-how and turned into something. Like, I have a lot to offer somebody and a lot of experience. I want to be able to share that, but it has to be in exchange for some value. And one of the reasons I'm trying to separate out the branding is that it's too closely tied to Legit to really make that happen, or to Superstar SEO to make that happen. So I wanted them all to be separate. And then also the actual visual branding for I always feel like a douche when I say this, but for the Chris M. Walker brand is very similar to the Superstar SEO brand. So I wanted to separate those out. They'll all have like their own color palette and logos and things like that. So I guess that answered that.
Yeah, I think so. Like, so the consulting and the personal branding things would go to Chris M. Walker. And the SEO side of things would go to Superstar SEO, and then you'll try to diversify as much as you can so people don't get confused.
Yeah, like for example, on YouTube, I took a lot of my videos and moved them to a Superstar SEO YouTube channel and hit a lot of the ones that were not there. There's still a lot of SEO ones on there, which I haven't quite figured out what the right thing to do there is, because a lot of them still drive a lot of traffic, so I don't want to remove them. But I also don't want the channel to be about SEO so much. So I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to handle that yet. But yeah, basically I want the SEO stuff to be under the Superstar SEO brand. And then I want to talk more about business and growth and fundamentals and things where I can really help businesses grow and not just be some guy that they ask about fucking backlinks, because
I'm that guy.
it's so,
I'm that guy.
yeah, it's just so
Thanks, Chris.
frustrating when I get a consulting client and all they want to do is just ask me SEO 101 questions. You know what I mean? And again, no disrespect to any of the people that have done that. Like, I get why you want to ask, but that's not what I do consulting for,
Sure. And seeing your like audience grow up so rapidly, like I've seen like there's something might have worked with your personal branding, and even if you're trying to revamp things, like what would you suggest, what would you advise for people who are like trying to grow their personal branding? Like what are the tips and tactics that worked for you personally?
I don't know how good of a person I am to answer that, but I think being authentic, I can tell you what I did wrong and why I think that's what they should avoid. I think being authentic, like for a while I was trying to do TikTok, and the first time TikTok and shorts and reels and the first time I did it, we hired, I won't name any names, but someone who's very successful at that to help us with it. And he was having me do all of these 10 websites that you'll find super useful. And like, I'm like, how the fuck is this helping? I would never say things like this. And he wanted me to use these dumb hooks that were like, this feels like it should be illegal to know about this website type of stuff. I was like, I would never say that. And it didn't work. And I think it's because it came off as inauthentic.
Sure.
Because it was. And then this next,
that's definitely not your personality. That's definitely not your personality.
No. Well, and it also it makes no business sense either. Why would I be sending people to useful websites that when I have a website I'm trying to send people to? Like it made no sense to me.
Yeah.
So the next phase I went through was I try to be like Gary V, motivational, that sort of thing. And that was a little more authentic because the things I said were things I genuinely think.
Yeah.
But it's still not the kind of stuff that I want to tell people. Like, if you're not motivated, that's your own fucking fault. You know what I mean? Like, it's not up to me to get you out of the chair and make you do the work. Like, and I was making content like that, and that didn't work either because it just wasn't me. Like, it was closer to me because it was things that I actually do think, but it's not the kind of thing I go around saying. So what I want to do is so I actually today, as a matter of fact, I deleted all of those from TikTok and I only have 7 videos left on there now. And I'm going to start doing things that I want to talk about and things that matter to me. And I think that that's going to work better. I could be wrong. I don't know. But even if I am wrong, at least I'm wrong as myself. So my explanation, you said, what advice can I give people for personal brand is be authentic and be helpful and be good to people. And then they'll gravitate to you. And don't listen to people that want you to just work an algorithm.
And even if you're being authentic, the algorithm will work for you in the end of the day, right?
We'll see. I don't know. It definitely rewards bad behavior. Going back to Alex Becker, the time that his YouTube channel got the most growth was when he was talking about Star Wars and Logan Paul and shit. And he even said to me once that he didn't care about any of that stuff. He was just doing it because it worked for the algorithm. So the algorithm rewards bad stuff. So let's hope that it also rewards good, authenticity.
Sure. And seeing
that's what gurus will tell you. Whether that's true or not, I don't know.
And seeing a bigger 9 figure, legit brand as how you've built, people at your level, they're very open about, they're facing a imposter syndrome and they don't feel like they deserve all the success and stuff. Do you face some emotions like that, or it doesn't come to you?
No, definitely. Yeah. I mean, anybody that tells you they don't is lying. Yeah, I definitely go through that. I can't think of a recent example, but yeah, definitely. Especially when honestly, with my employees is when I feel that the most. Because they always look to me for the answer to whatever the thing is. And I don't have any more experience with stuff that comes up day to day than they do.
Yeah.
And but I have to project confidence that I know what I'm going to say and what I'm going to do. And so, yeah, I think I definitely still have it. And I think that's where it comes off the most. I can talk about business or SEO or whatever with confidence. And when I come across something I don't know, I just say I don't know. And I don't care what somebody thinks of me. But there are definitely times when I'm like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing and I don't deserve the credit I get and things like that. It's
And
not often, but it's there.
do you have any tools that you use to navigate towards these feelings, or jiu-jitsu, martial arts, all these lifestyle choices you're making, going to the gym, and what kind of tips you can recommend people? Because I think like a lot of people, me personally, they suffer to the same kind of stuff, and nobody kind of is vocal about it. And I think it's nice just us, just bringing a voice to the community and helping those who are kind of going through the same.
Yeah. So last year, 2022, I had let myself get quite a bit out of shape and I started having some health issues. And it ended up not being as bad as I thought, but I thought I was having like some heart issues. It turned out there was something else entirely, but that was kind of when I started changing stuff. At that point, all I ever did was work. You know what I mean? Like I would exercise here and there, but like that, all I cared about was my work, and I didn't have any hobbies or anything like that. So that's when I started like working with like a diet coach and a health coach, and I had a fucked up tooth from the whole time I was born, and I got that fixed. And I picked up a hobby, which you can kind of see back here. It may sound silly for a guy in his 40s, but like this really like helped me focus away from the thing, like become more of a complete person and have a thing that I was interested in. And like, it helped me out a lot. And like, so I guess the advice would be to take care of yourself too. Like, I don't believe in work-life balance. I think that that's a term that lazy people made up to justify not working hard enough. But I do think that you have to take care of yourself to take care of the people that rely on you and take care of your business. And that's been big for me, like taking care of my body, but my mind, and like just kind of having some things that weren't just work. So take care of yourself, I think would be the answer to that.
Yeah, I think it's just like clicking all the dimensions of life, because a lot of people, they just like lock themselves and just build backlinks all day. And I'm like, come on, mate, like there's so much more to life. Jiu-Jitsu, Star Wars, like look at Chris Walker, just for instance. But yeah, last year I saw a post, like something happened with this. You posted like you consumed too much caffeine or something, and
not exactly. It turned out I was allergic to coffee. Not caffeine, but coffee. Like, because like I first I diagnosed it as caffeine, right, and I stopped, and I was like, okay, that was what it was. And then like gradually I would start drinking an energy drink here and there, and I'm like, okay, well, this is fine. This doesn't bother me. And then one day there's a brand called Super Coffee. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's like coffee, like flavored coffee, but I bought one of those because this looks pretty tasty. And then I started having chest pains again, and it still didn't click. So I was like, okay, well, I stopped drinking caffeine again, and then it went away again. So again, thought that was that, but then gradually started drinking energy drinks again. And then this year I spoke at a SEO conference in April, and they didn't have any place for me to get energy drinks there. So I just drank coffee in the morning, and chest pains came back. And that's when it finally clicked that that's what was causing the problem. But even when that first happened and I first dealt with it the first time, that was like kind of a pivotal moment for me. Like, I was like, because I really like, even though it turns out I was just being overly dramatic, but I really expected to go to sleep one night and not be there the next day at one point, So I started making changes. I started working out and finding things to do with my time and getting hobbies, and it helped.
Thanks for sharing that, Chris. So like, are you consuming any coffee at the moment, or no caffeine?
No, coffee fucks me up. But regular caffeine, well, other sources of caffeine doesn't. It's, so there's probably a doctor or something watching this thinking that's bullshit, but
that's I see a lot of people who are on like overdose of caffeine and stuff. They're like full of anxiety and stuff. Like, it's a strong drug. Like, it's definitely doing something to you.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. But I don't drink a lot of it, but it, for me, it wasn't caffeine specifically, but coffee specifically.
Awesome, Chris. There's been a lot of topics we covered in this podcast, and I really enjoyed this conversation. But yeah, for the listeners, like, what can people expect from you, like, legit moving forward and all your personal brand? Like, what's your short-term or long-term visions, and what can we expect from you, Chris?
So for Legit, our focus is to be a platform as opposed to just another marketplace, because marketplaces are a dime a dozen. There's a group called Everything Marketplaces that has like 20,000 marketplace founders in it. And now, granted, most of those are in like other industries and niches and things like that. But it's just everybody thinks they can do it now. And they keep popping up all over the place. And first of all, they can't. It's not a good business model for most people. But also, all that's doing is like making you another drop in the ocean. So we pivoted away from that and decided to become an all-in-one platform for businesses. Our goal is to have every business on earth plug their business into Legit and get the information that they need of what's wrong with it, what have the information, like the courses that they can want, or the training that they want to do it themselves, or find the people that can fix those problems and improve them for them. And then they can kind of keep track of it all in one central place. I got the idea for that from the Steve Jobs biography, which if you haven't read, you should. It's 26 hours long, the audiobook, so just be prepared. But literally 26 hours long. But his vision at when in the early 2000s was that the Mac would be like the center of the hub of their platform, and then you'd have the iPhone and the iPod and iCloud and all that stuff. And now it's kind of iCloud at the center of that hub. But he envisioned everyone putting all of their stuff into that and then just having those be the extensions of it. And that's kind of how I envision Legit for businesses, is to be able to get everything they need by plugging into one thing and having all the other things hanging off of it. We also had to reevaluate who we were to make that decision. And one thing that I got caught that I did wrong in the journey on Legit was focusing too much on helping freelancers and not enough on helping the kinds of freelancers I wanted to help. I wanted to work with people like you who are going to like offer a high quality service, and not just the service itself, but the appearance of it and the pride that they put into it and into their own brand and the way they treat customers. I wanted to help those freelancers and not just everybody who wants to list the same damn thing that they have on Fiverr and expect the sales to just fall on them because they listed some, I will do 10 high DA links and whatever crap. So I wanted to help people like you and people, and like who's another good example. Ed Abraham is a good example. A few others, to be able to help our customers, because you do the best job, and that's what our customers deserve. And then as far as customers, I didn't want to work with everybody. I wanted to work with businesses. Like, if you want to go get a video of a guy that looks like Jesus singing "Happy Birthday" to you, go over to Fiverr. They've got you covered on that. And to be clear, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's obviously a niche for that. But that's not what I wanted. I wanted to work with businesses. So we decided to focus the platform from here and then going forward on helping businesses as much as possible and helping high-end freelancers deliver for those businesses. So that's kind of where Legit's going. That's one of the reasons we did the big redesign recently, that and because purple is awesome. But that's kind of where that. And then as far as me, I want to, I've like I said, I've gotten a lot. I've accomplished a lot with very little in terms of funding and know-how and everything. And I think I have a lot to offer, and I want to offer that as a brand to people, whether it's through a coaching or consulting or a mastermind or something like that. And I would do it for free if I thought that I would attract the kind of people that I want. But I think the people that I want are going to, I'm only going to get them if they pay, as weird as that sounds.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the avenue I'm going with that. And then Superstar SEO will just keep doing what it's doing. So.
Awesome. And you talk about like you started speaking in some conferences and stuff. Are you planning to do your own legit SEO masterminds or conferences in future? Because that'll be awesome. Like, no?
Yeah. I mean, I've considered it, but then when I went to that one in April, I was talking to, Terry Samuels, right?
Yeah.
And he was telling me all of the planning that went into it. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'll leave that to you guys. Like, I think that would drive me right up the fucking wall trying to plan something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're that profitable either. But I do think it would be awesome to have us all get together in some place. So I'm not putting it off the table, but it's not an immediate plan.
Awesome, Chris. Awesome. So for all the people where can people find you and message you for consulting and buying your SEO services? And you have a lot of SEO services, right? You have like...
Yeah, we have about, I mean, we still do a very good business through Legit as Superstar SEO, which further muddies the, anyway. But yeah, so you can find me on Facebook, or just Google Chris M. Walker. I have a pretty good presence there. Don't Google Chris Walker. You'll find a 90s pop singer that I can't figure out how to outrank. But yeah, just find me on Facebook is probably the easiest way to get a response from me.
Sweet, Chris. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, you too. Always a pleasure.